Putin, again, makes $130,000 a year. He's worth $200 billion. Your friend.
Yeah.
How much is he paying you to
my
suck
friend,
his...
so it's like Nancy Pelosi. And I love how you keep going to the gay route, which is hilarious.
I'm just saying you're a Putin sympathizer.
Yeah, and you're a
Putin sympathizer.
I'm telling you right now, if
it's
CNN,
crazy.
if
you
anybody
served
on
in
the
the
left
U.S.
is watching,
Air Force.
don't
you
talk
served
Adam,
in the U.S. Air Force.
Don't even
yet
try
you're a
that
Putin
shit.
puppet,
Adam,
Vinny.
don't talk shit about my service.
More from you.
Adam, don't go there, because trust me, you're going to regret it. Don't you sound? I'm telling you right now.
Right there. There's
CNN.
There's your lovely homeland.
Anybody
Russia,
that works for CNN or MSNBC, I would 100% give you a contract to go there.
Yeah, that'd be great. By the way, Russia TV, if you're listening, and if you could locate the 20,000 emails of the love letters that Vinny has written to Putin, he's looking for a job on RTV, propaganda TV.
Patrick Bet-David was forced to shut down his own co-host here for being ridiculously woke on his show, the PBD Podcast, here on the Valuetainment YouTube channel. Things got really heated between a lot of the PBD Podcast panel here whenever the topic of Putin and, Ann Coulter and Bill Maher were discussing Vladimir Putin and Joe Biden and things like that on Real Time with Bill Maher. Vinny tries to go after Bill Maher and his comments for being too woke, and then Adam actually comes to the defense of Bill Maher, and then even Patrick Bet-David comes in and he has to just shut everybody down and say, hey, here's the facts of the situation. Let's get into this clip here where Patrick Bet-David is forced to shut down his own co-host here live on the PBD Podcast and the Valuetainment YouTube channel.
So basically, it's Van Jones and Ann Coulter again on Bill Maher. Bill Maher wanted to know their thoughts of Tucker going to there.
Right there.
And by the way, Van Jones, play this clip, and I want to show you. This is the epitome of a beta male. Is this dude right here?
What do you think of Tucker? I mean, you used to be friends with him, right? I mean, going over there and
giving a lap dance to Putin.
Basically. I mean, parading himself for all these years as so pro-American, and then going around and basically saying this is the really good country, Russia, and this guy, and not bringing up any of his crimes. What is his motivation? Can you get into his head a little for me?
Well, no, no, I'm not a huge fan
of Tucker.
Jealousy,
a lot of what
jealous.
People do on both sides is motivated by seeking money and fame.
Tucker
this is the way to do it? This is how, I mean, couldn't he still be on Fox?
Look, I mean, he went over there and said, Moscow is this amazing city because the trains run on time.
Right.
I'm like, isn't that what?
It's not what Tucker was saying at all in that interview. What Tucker was saying is that Russia is made out to be in American media as this third world country ran by this evil dictator that has no desire to create a good life for his citizens of the country that he rules over, and all these things. And Tucker goes over there, he interviews Putin, he looks around Russia, and he does his job as a journalist and says, American media has been lying about Russia. It's actually not that bad. That's all Tucker was saying. And then all these other journalists, like Vinny is saying, like Patrick Bet-David is saying, they're jealous of Tucker because he got an interview with Vladimir Putin. None of them can do that. None of them would be allowed to do that because of the stations that they work for.
What they said about Hitler and
Mussolini.
Mussolini.
No,
it's like
Mussolini.
Mussolini.
Yeah, okay,
Your history major.
On time, but people are being literally, killed in prison because they have an opinion. That's not a great country.
I think you can say
it's not a great country to everybody in the world except Russians.
People are motivated by money and fame. If they were on Fox News, the Fox News that then had to pay $700 million in defamation. I would say you can read it on my Substack first, or wait for Fox to pay a $700 million defamation judgment.
By the way, Van Jones, the last time we heard of him, he was shaking and crying because Vivek, a skinny Indian guy, did a speech, and Van Jones was like, I was shaking. Okay, and for them to say that Tucker's interview let the world hear what an adversary has to say, and for them to say he's giving a lap dance, CNN is doing way more. They're having sex with Biden every single day. So for him to say that type of shit really drives me crazy. It drives me nuts. Now and look, and Bill Maher, like, what? Why would you go over there? We know why he went over there.
What did Colbert say? What did Colbert say?
Stephen Colbert has another Trump derangement syndrome. He was one of the, by the way, one of the biggest shills of the left. Remember him with his dancing vaccine stuff. He just had one of his TDS moments where, mind you, he's a comedian, Okay, he's had to take off his glasses, run up to the camera to all the stuff that's happening with Trump right now in New York.
Hear it.
Yeah, look at
Go
this.
ahead, Rob.
I know how numb we've become, but it's not normal. No other candidate for the presidency has ever had to pause his campaign to defend himself in multiple courts. And I would like to point out that in all 7 of his cases, no one doubts that he did these things. We're just sitting around patiently waiting to find out if the wheels of justice will grind fast enough for there to be any consequences. And the media is covering it like it's any other political story, like it's all horse race. I know.
What? Don't you miss Jay Leno and Johnny Carlson and those late night where it's supposed to be fun and happy? That's a political activist. Like, why is he so insane? And it's happening and it's shifting. But Bill Maher, I'm tired of people going, oh, Bill Maher's leaning right. And don't get it twisted, bro. It's because Trump was gone. Biden was in. They have nothing to talk about. They have absolutely nothing to talk about. It's election year. Trump is back. And now the Trump hate train, the wheels are starting to spin. And it's only a matter of time till Bill Maher goes back to old Bill Maher, where it's just Trump is going to start World War III. Trump is a Russian asset. Trump and all that bullshit. And I'm tired of it. And it's going to keep happening. It's going to get worse. And you're going
Then he's speaking facts, man. For a long time, it looked like Bill Maher and a lot of people were going over to the right, leaning more in that direction. I didn't really think that it was, I don't think it was in good faith. I never thought it was that. I thought it was him trying to sell books and things like that, seeing which way the pendulum is swinging in and noticing a trend there and just trying to follow that wave. But there's no doubt that he definitely was leaning right in a lot of the things that he's saying. And now that, it's the election year and it's time for Donald Trump versus Joe Biden / Kamala Harris now, it's going much more back to the extreme TDS that it was the last few years and during the Trump presidency. And I think that's because something that has become very apparent in the last few elections, and that the sides, so like Fox News wants Trump to lose. CNN wants Biden / Kamala Harris to lose, because whenever they lose, now they get to complain about the current president for the next 4 years and trash on them. And that's much better ratings than trying to defend the current president. It's a whole lot better, and people like to watch it more whenever you're trashing on the sitting president, the current president, than whenever you're trying to defend them so that they're doing a good job. Whenever you can come out and clown them for falling downstairs or pooping themselves on stage and stuff like that, it's a lot more lucrative for the business. And the same goes for people like Bill Maher and Whoopi Goldberg and all these people. Whenever their adversary, the people that they don't want, are in office, it's a whole lot better for them to talk about how bad of a candidate they are or bad of a president they are. But whenever they're not in office, whenever they're the person that they picked is in office and America is still going down the drain, well, they don't really have much to talk about. So they just switch to the other side. They just act like they're now on the right or moving towards the right. But now that the time's coming again, Vinny is completely right. They're going to switch back to the other side and start talking about how Donald Trump's going to start World War III and take all women's rights away and how racist he is and stuff like that. They're very predictable. Vinny is completely in the right here.
You're going to see it out.
Regarding Tucker, you have to respect him for going to Russia. So for the people on the left that are like, I can't believe he's a shill, he's just a Putin
doing lap
puppet.
dances, Adam. Lap dances, they said.
He did, and Putin said it himself. Your friend, Vladimir Putin, your hero.
My friend.
Said, I was expecting a tougher interview. So,
Oh, yeah, he should have been
Vinny, can I talk? Or are you just going to keep yelling all day? Putin said it himself. I was expecting a harder interview. So, it's been lauded many times that Tucker was basically giving a softball interview, which he's done to Trump.
What would you have asked, Adam?
Why are you killing innocent people in Ukraine and invading countries? How about that?
You never would have said
Why are you killing your political opponents?
You never would have said
Why does it seem that anyone who's ever given any sort of challenge to you somehow gets poisoned? Somehow they just throw themselves, billionaires are locked up in jail, or billionaires are just throwing themselves out of windows. All those depressed billionaires out there. How about tough questions like that? But that's not even my point with Tucker. The point with Tucker, what he missed, what he didn't understand, as much as
if you enjoy content like this, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
Our cities are crumbling, and and that does need to be held to account. The subways in New York. Do you understand when the train stations in Russia were built? Do you know when they were built? Take a wild guess, Vinny.
During Stalin?
Oh, exactly. Lucky guess. During Stalin. What was Stalin known for?
killing people after?
Yeah, exactly. So how about misappropriating and stealing all the money from the people? Because communism and socialism takes all the money and usurps it to the government, and they build these lavish train stations, and the people are starving while they build these grandiose public homages to the great communist dictatorship of Stalin. So it's no wonder why they're the most amazing train stations in the world. I don't know how Tucker didn't understand that, because all the money was misappropriated to build these grandiose homages to communism. Whereas in New York, all right, there's called public-private partnerships that's built on capitalism. And they're like, yeah, we could improve this a little bit, but it's going to cost a lot of money. But in Russia, there's no... Putin, again, makes $130,000 a year. He's worth $200 billion. You're a friend.
Yeah,
how much is he paying you to
my
suck
friend,
his...
So it's like Nancy Pelosi. And I love how you keep going to the gay route, which is hilarious.
I'm just saying you're a Putin sympathizer.
And you're a
Putin sympathizer.
I'm telling you right now, if
it's
CNN,
crazy.
if
you
anybody
served
on
in
the
the
left
U.S.
is watching,
Air Force.
don't
you
talk
served
Adam,
in the U.S. Air
Adam,
Force.
don't even
Yet
try
you're a
that
Putin
shit.
puppet,
Adam,
Vinny.
don't talk shit about my service.
More from you.
Adam, don't go there, because trust me, you're going to regret it. You sound. I'm
there
telling
it
right
is,
now.
right there. There's
CNN.
There's your lovely homeland,
if anybody
Russia,
that works for CNN or MSNBC, I would 100% give you a contract to go there.
Yeah, that'd be great. By the way, Russia TV, if you're listening, and if you could locate the 20,000 emails of the love letters that Vinny has written to Putin, he's looking for a job on RTV, propaganda TV.
So, Tom, next week it's just you and I doing a podcast.
Okay.
It's going to be fantastic. Me and you represent America.
Let's do it.
You know, I think we should do...
I think I'm very pro-American right now.
It's the, you're pro Adam, which is
He's the pro America of the past, where basically we all buy into what the news stations are telling us, what the mainstream media is telling us about Russia and about Putin. I don't think Putin is some great guy, some great leader. I wouldn't want him as the leader of my country in particular, but I do think he's made out to be this super villain in every single scenario, when I think it's a lot more complicated than what meets the eye. Like when it comes to this Russia invasion of Ukraine and everything, our mainstream media is telling us Putin bad, Zelensky good, and just fall in line. And now we're just going to give a whole bunch of money to Ukraine. All your tax dollars are going over there. And I think a lot of people like Vinny are starting to wake up to the fact that maybe it's not as simple as Putin bad, America good, or Putin bad, Zelensky good, or Putin bad, Ukraine good. Maybe it's not as simple as that. Maybe there's more to this thing. That's what people like Tucker Carlson are trying to expose and bring to light, that Russia isn't this third world country where everything's just falling apart. The people are starving. The people are miserable. Putin does try and give a good life to his citizens. At least it appears so. And yet he definitely does some bad things. No doubt about it. So have most U.S. presidents, if not all of them. It's very common for world leaders to do very, very dark and bad things. If everything came to light that all U.S. presidents did, I'm sure we would have a much darker history than we do now. But I don't think Vinny is some Putin sympathizer. I think he's just waking up to the fact that we have been lied to about Putin and about Russia for a very long time. Like I said, wouldn't want him running my country. I would much rather live in the United States than Russia. That's why I live here. But I don't think it's as black and white as it used to be. I think that's what Tucker Carlson's saying. I think that's what Patrick Bet-David's saying. And I think that's what Vinny is saying here on the PBD podcast. Let me know in the comments what you think about this Adam versus Vinny discussion / very, very heated debate there on the PBD podcast. Let me know, whose side you're on, what side you take, and what is your stance on this whole Putin and Russia thing. Let me know in the comments what you think about this whole PBD podcast episode.